What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Sarah McLachlan, and we're returning for the bonus tune not originally included on the US release of Fumbling Towards Ecstasy, 1993/94. Thank you, as always, to Michaela for sending this awesome CD. And I should mention, I have Afterglow Live. I have that release ready to go. I also have a couple other random tunes, including the Junkie XL remix of World on Fire, a tune that's included in its original form in the Afterglow Live folder. So yes, there's a bit of a history. That was probably the first Sarah McLachlan tune I ever heard, the Junkie XL remix, because it was on a now like 20-year-old edition of FIFA. I think it was like FIFA 04, 05, something like that. And that was, as I said, the first time I ever heard her sing. And obviously it's a remix, but it really struck my ear back then. And so once we began this Sarah McLachlan deep dive, I knew at some point I would react to that. So in any case, I also have a track called Ada, like A-I-D-A, and there's a tune in the folder of Lucky Dips that Michaela has sent. So we've got more Sarah coming after this, but this is the final tune on this CD, and it's called Blue. It's a color that's often associated with cooler or even melancholy emotional tones, and maybe I'm inclined to see it that way. It is, of course, a single word title. Blue actually can be a name, so it might not have anything to do with the emotional color of a given situation or psycho-emotional feeling, but again, if I had to hypothesize, that's maybe the direction I would expect it to go into, and yet even if that's accurate, no doubt there will be a larger scene or narrative that will be painted. So let's give it a listen. This is Sarah McLachlan, the tune is Blue, and it's the last track on a CD version of her 1993-94 album Fumbling Towards Ecstasy, though again, this track was not included on the US album release.
Songs are like tattoos, I've been to see before. Crown and anchor me, or let me sail away. Hey blue, here is a song for you, ink on a pen. Underneath the skin, an empty space to fill. There's so many seconds, now you gotta keep thinking we can make it through these waves. Acid, booze, and ice, needles, guns, and grass, lots of laughs, lots of laughs. Well, everybody's saying that hell's the hippest way to go. Well, I don't think so, but I'm gonna take a look around it, though blue. I love Blue, here is a shell for you. Inside you'll hear a sigh, a foggy lullaby. Here is my song from me.
So, yeah, a shorter one, maybe 3 minutes? In fact, less than that, like more than 2.5, but under 3. That's a very stunning tune. Of course, her vocals are very elegant and sweet sounding, and I enjoy the relatively minimal arrangement. Now, there are some sections where the piano really steps to the fore, and that organ, you notice it, those like church organ chords, and there are also some ethereal ambient type noises and flourishes along the way. And indeed, I'd say this was somewhere between art pop, ethereal music, and church choir meets spiritual type of styling. So yeah, I enjoy the way all those different elements came together. I do feel like she's addressing Blue, this is a song for you, and yet I don't know if that's literally a person's name or nickname, or whether it's the personification of an emotional, psychological mindset. It sounds like she's talking about days past, and including a couple lines where, like, I'm not sure I heard them right, but it sounds like, wild times, or, shenanigans of youth and friends that go way back, but seen from a later reflective point of view, and talking, what was it, like, they say hell's the best way to go out, but I'm going to take a look around. So it's like maybe she's reaching the end of her life trajectory, reflecting on what's happening or what's happened, acknowledging that maybe she didn't do what she was supposed to, or that, she indulged or engaged in things which were taboo, but is trying to get a measure of where she's going, even if that's in like a metaphysical, spiritual sort of dimension. So yeah, I wasn't able to piece it all together, but I'm curious and intrigued by the tidbits that I seem to catch. But just a very beautiful and moving tune, despite how, again, relatively Spartan the sonics were. And, fair to say, there's been other songs where it's, kind of her and a piano, maybe an acoustic guitar. It's not like her songs have this big bombastic production. But even among the songs on this album, which I get it, this wasn't officially on the US version of the album, but yeah, I'd say this one was even a bit more minimal and stripped down, which seemed to fit the reflective, in your own headspace, thinking about what has been, where you are, and what may be scene that was painted from what I caught from the lyrics. So a very beautiful tune. Once again, thank you to Michaela for providing this CD. Looking forward to going through Afterglow. Looking forward to, again, once I react to the normal version of World on Fire from that release, I'm going to also react, hopefully in the same batch if I can sync it up correctly, but to the Junkie XL mix, which again I heard in a FIFA game going back 20 years or so, and which was one of my favorite tracks from the soundtrack. And I remember like sitting in the menus just to let the full track play because it was so compelling. So yeah, looking forward to strolling down that memory lane. Let me know what you think of this song and or the CD in general, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.